Ah, tired. I'm a little tired. Was up and running around today, doing different activities with different people. I was actually socializing today. Oh my goodness. Unexpected, but true. Um, but you know, got up early for some activities, which just meant I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. But honestly, I've been thinking about doing like this kind of artwork and everything all day. So I figured, I mean, if there was one stream I was probably going to be more present for, slash like the topic I should do on stream, it'd probably just be best to do art in this case, purely based off the fact that I don't know, otherwise it might just be too sleepy to stream, too sleepy to care. Be like, I don't know about all this. I'm working on a One Piece fanimation, and with that in mind, let's keep up our work on it. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know. I just was enjoying some good old content about Dear Yamato, and I was like, man, I should do fan art of them. And I was like, you know what? No, let me do a fan animation of them, because that's been a hot topic in One Piece as of late. Is how good I was thinking of the animation has been for the later part of the Wano saga. So with that in mind, I was like, well, let me try and get in on it and everything. And I'm gonna see after this is done at Hot Topic. I don't Juice, are you just telling me you bought something at Hot Topic, or is there a reference I'm missing here? Because, hand to God, I think if you asked me, I would just say you were telling me you got something at Hot Topic, and that's fine. I'm glad to hear. But if it's supposed to be a reference, I really don't. You said Hot Topic. Oh. Oh, I said the words that make up the name of the store in a different context than referencing the name of the store, and you took the opportunity to make a joke and talk about the store. I get it. I understand. I comprehend. And I approve. I hope Juice is doing well. I've been doing kind of like all over the place today. Not really dipping into the negatives, but you know. Been an interesting day. Not really, I mean, like, a little interesting for like what I was doing and stuff, but not. Do you ever just have those own days where you're just having entire, like, dialogues inside your own head? You're just like, I'm not talking about this with anyone, but I'm thinking about it a lot. That was me a lot today. Just thinking about all different things. What was I thinking of? I mean, and I feel like this is fine to share because it's such a small personal detail, but I'm thinking about going to Disneyland. Maybe just me and my bestest friend sometime early summer, because certain details have made it so like that would be very possible and affordable. Like you wouldn't believe, considering I have to cross the country and you know, then get into Disneyland. I don't know. Honestly, just I feel like as a theme park, generally tend to enjoy Disneyland more. But I think that's because of the general vibes and stuff. Granted, Disney World has the advantage, well, at least Magic Kingdom, because that's usually what I'm thinking of, is just the two Magic Kingdoms compared to each other. But regardless, like, it has the advantage of being on such a large swath of its own property. But you know, Disneyland is the template it and basically all other theme parks look up to. So I give it that credit where it's due. It has much of the things I enjoy in Disney World anyway. There's not tons of like theme park based experiences I feel like I'm missing out on if I go to land instead of World. Like, sure, the different parks and stuff, but a lot of my favorites are there. So I'll be fine. I don't think I'll be too worse for wear. I can appreciate some quality over quantity. I mean, I don't produce quantity or quality, but you know, given the due concepts, present it with the ideas, the concepts of the two, and comparing them. I feel like I'd rather have better, fewer stuff than more, worse stuff. But that's just me. I was about to make like a stupid observation for the sake of comedy about quality and quantity, because it's treated as like a trade-off of like you can either have a lot or you can have the best. And I was like, well, does that mean that you could say trade? And I was trying to think of something Hi, Riku. And I was trying to think of something expensive you could trade for something cheap, and I was like, does that mean you could trade, I don't know, gold for a lot of pennies? And I realized that's just how money works. Yes, you could. It would be an obnoxious amount of pennies. But that's not a theoretical situation. That is in fact the basis of American currency. In trying to think of something, in thinking of a stupid comparison, I just thought of a real world example. But I mean, that is me thinking of pennies as like worthless, you know? Because I mean, see, I'm okay with, because I would love more coin-based currency in America. Like, no more paper bills, only coins. Let me bring around little bags of fantasy coins around and spend it on stuff. I'm very much in favor of that idea. But there is legitimate reason to be like, yeah, drop the penny. Because it is actually more expensive to make a penny than, like, even as a batch, than it is to just have them. It's more expensive than a penny. So inherently the value there is bad. What was I thinking of? Does Japan have paper money? They do, right? Does every country have paper money? I can't think of a... Because I've heard about yen coins before, and that they're kind of like plastic, almost. Or some material, I guess, other than metal. And that, you know, you have different yen coins or different amount, because 1 yen isn't very, you know, worth anything. But they just keep that base unit. Has both, gotcha. They just keep that base unit and are just like, okay, just more of it. And I don't know how that's working out for them, but frankly, I don't know. I kind of like that. Why do we need nickels, quarters, and dollars and all that kind of stuff when we could just have, I'm gonna give you 1,000 pennies. I like that better. 1,000 pennies is $10. One bell 5. But yeah, I believe. But listen, I'm just saying. I'm sick of wallets. Like, even the coolest cool wallet cannot compare to like slapping down like a coin purse. Like, you know what I mean? And paper currency doesn't have a thud to it, so you can slap down a wad of bills, but it doesn't really have the impact physically as it does mentally, financially. But then you go up to getting like a sack of coins. My sack of coins. I'm sorry. And you slam that down on the table and be like, get the job done. That's so much better. Exactly, a giant bag of coin sound. Heck, that's what like banks use in digital banking to express amounts of money and depositing and withdrawing. They use like the sound of change and shit. So yeah, I want more of that physical satisfaction, gratification in real life. I'm not gonna apologize for it. Money confuses me. I don't enjoy it on a large scale. I need it so that way I don't live with my parents for the rest of my life. But besides that, the actual like presence of money doesn't necessarily give me joy. You know what I mean? That's the part that always confused me about Mr. Krabs too. You know that? You've seen that? Mr. Krabs does not enjoy spending his money. He just wants it. And he will literally live near poverty-like in order to make sure he is keeping as much money as possible at all times. And there's definitely episodes about that kind of stuff, but it's just wild. 'Cause why? What about the mere presence of money makes you happy, Mr. Krabs? / real life equivalent. I love hoarding money. Well, Juice, you love fucking dragons. So, like, hoarding money is a necessity. If you want to fuck dragons, you better have a hoard ready. That's just a fact. Statistically, the only way to get them there. You can't. What can I do? Juice, look me in the eye and you tell me what I do. Yeah, I'm outing you. Okay. Sure. Uh-huh. Listen, you're talking to resident Mr. Kezu fucker. Fucking. You better. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Because my Kezu emote is like tier 3 or tier 2 or whatever. So my dearest friend, Shinology345, at one point, I think someone made a joke about, like, in his chat, he or me, I like food more. Yeah, agreed. Food or games or just experiences or the experience of living that money brings you. But regardless, yeah, in Chen's chat, what was I thinking of? Someone made a joke about, like, I think it might have been him, might have been me. I might have been like, oh, let me tier 3 sub, because those are expensive. And Chen was like, if you do that, I'll kiss you. And I was like, well, now I have to actually do it. But then Twitch wouldn't let me do the payment, which happens sometimes. And I was like, damn, I really tried, but it's not letting me finish. And Chen was like, yeah, that's okay. And at this point, I was like, I don't need to spend this much money. And I thought that's where I left it. Until like last month when $25 exited my bank account. $25 I would have enjoyed keeping, mind you. And I was like, huh. And then, because I didn't have the tier 3 emotes. I would like to know, it wasn't a case of it exited, like I lost $25 the first time. I checked. The first time it didn't work, but then it decided to renew it anyway when the month was up. Which obviously I would have turned off if I had known I had the sub, but I didn't? Question mark? I don't know, it was weird. But Twitch refunds are a nightmare, and also, like, I'm giving money to a friend, so I wasn't about to ask for a refund. I just turned it off and be like, well, there goes $25. So, oh my lord, wait, no one is here. There are 2 people here. But let me tell this fucking story. I was actually thinking about this last night because I was watching a bit of a drama video on a PC building company. And I was like, man, I should follow like some PC builders in the hopes they do giveaways, because I wicked can't afford one. But you know what happened not too long ago? This will happen a lot because, you know, I'm an artist, so I follow a lot of art accounts. And also I think that's a reason why I have a better experience on the internet. So many people are like, Twitter is awful. And I was like, do you follow artists? Do you follow art accounts? Or like just like curate who you're following at all? Because that helps. But there was a giveaway for a tablet that I entered by doing the required things, which is just, you know, the typical follow us, and it was from an artist too. So it was like, follow us and, you know, retweet this tweet if you want to possibly win one of these. I was like, okay, I did that. Two nights ago? 1 night ago? It was 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, I get a DM which has the tweet I retweeted and followed linked to it, because I won the competition. I am one of 3 people who won a tablet. Amazing. Here's the not great part. The original tweet was in English, and this message was purely in Spanish. And before and like, you know, I got the gist of what it said. You know, like, I know I'm not very good at speaking other languages, which I said last stream when I talked about being like, man, it sucks I can't help people in my job because I just don't know any languages. But like reading it and stuff, I know Latin roots, and I know it's like, you won, where should we mail this to? But I was like, man, why is it in Spanish? So I didn't bother to translate it. I go to the tweet. That competition was Europe only. They were not shipping outside of Europe, like, and it said it in the tweet, and it wasn't edited. It said in the second sentence, which I guess I skipped, hey, this is, you know, to my slight credit, with like literally the smallest amount of credit I can give myself, it's like, it wasn't like, it was off to the side in the text body in parentheses, so my brain just automatically skipped over it. But it did say there, Europe only. So I told them that. It's like, because I could have tried to pull a fast one, but I'm not doing that. I'm not being like, yes. I mean, I guess if I really wanted to be a piece of shit, if I really just wanted to make sure the people who followed the rules of this competition got screwed out of a brand new fancy art device that they could almost definitely use more than me, because I have a working tablet, even if it's not a fancy one. I have a working tablet. Then I could have given my dear friend Alphonse's address, as he lives in Europe technically. I don't know if it was. He lives on an island though, so I don't know if it was just continental Europe, but regardless, I guess I could have been like, Alphonse, I pickled myself real quick. Could I have your address? They mail this to you, you mail this to me, I cover all the fees, and you get some money. And then I guess I'm not getting it for free at that point, I'm getting it at a discounted rate. But that would have been complicated and stupid and mean. There's a lot of things that that would have been, which would have caused it to not be the greatest move I've ever committed. Also, there's no telling if they would have been able to figure out whether or not that a non-European ended up with the tablet, because that was the person who entered. Iron Post is exorbitant because of embargo and him being on an island. Damn. I'm sorry for Alphonse and islands. I don't know how much I've expressed this on stream. I really think my my goal in life is to, like, my personal goal for myself. If nothing else works, let me do this for myself to live my dream, is to get like a seaworthy vessel, prefer like a seaworthy sail vessel that I can man myself and cross oceans in. That's what I would prefer the most. And I mean, part of it is stuff like that, where it's like, I don't gotta worry about what it costs to go there, or, you know, typical stuff like that. I can just, do I have a friend who lives on an island? I am going to now go to that island. The Navy can try and stop me. Those bastards. They won't succeed. So yeah. I learned today that, I used to watch Whale Wars as a younger man. I was like in middle school. And like, I don't know, pretty cool show. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't like, I guess terrorism is bad because they're eco-terrorists, they're labeled as. So that's not good. But also I don't like killing whales, especially if you're not supposed to be killing whales anyway on an international legal stage, but whatever. But I learned apparently last year the main ship, they're like because they had a fleet for the longest time. That organization of anti-whale activists have had a fleet of ships in order to chase down the whaling ships. And the main ship they had, and like the first one they ever had, was apparently retired and recycled for last year. I was like, damn. Because, like, I mean, that's probably one of the cool things about that show, is you get to see this kind of ship-to-ship combat happen. I mean, there is a legitimate example. Because I saw it because I was looking it up because there was a clip from it online today and I was just watching it. I was like, I wonder what happened to that ship. And it is no longer in service, which, Uwu 7 to that ship. Thank you for your service. But, yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen the famous clip, they had a speed vessel, like a ship you could like live on in the Arctic Ocean, but capable of like high speeds, because like you can't just the Antarctic Ocean is extremely dangerous. It is an incredibly rough sea. Have you seen a scary clip of the ocean? That was probably the Antarctic one. So you can't just bring like a speedboat out there and be like, "I'll be good." This is fun. It's a good speedboat. Don't even worry about that. So they acquired at one point a speed vessel. I don't know what kind of like make and model it was. It was real cool and real sleek though. But during one of their seasons, one of the whaling vessels ran over it. And it was not when I say that, you're probably like, "Oh, so it was small?" No. Like, it was a decently big ship. It was like, think of any, because you know how I'm saying I want to sail like a sailing vessel. I don't want to say sailboat or ship because it's kind of in between that. Think of like big sailboats. It was probably even a bit bigger than most of those. Like, think of like a schooner. Anyone who knows what a schooner is, think of that. It was probably bigger than those. And those are already decently bigger than your typical like speedboats. And one of the whaling ships, hi Stitch. One of the whaling ships just ran over it and cracked it in half. And they got that on camera. They filmed the whole thing. And like, yeah, these whaling vessels and protesters are in kind of a battle here, but they rarely sink each other's ships. It's more of like trying to disturb operations. So with that in mind, this was a shock. Have a good nut, pig. It's so wild when we say that and people are like, yeah, I guess so. I suppose that is it. But yeah, like, because like sloops are typically your smallest sailing ships. They have like one sail, one deck and everything. Schooners will be a bit longer and bigger than them, and they have typically like 2 sails or so. In Sea of Thieves, it's like a brigantine or something like that. And it was like that big, and it got cracked in half. But yeah, one of their ally ships managed to get most of the crew off, but the captain stayed on. Which, you know, again, hams. Again, I don't care. First off, Whale Wars is an old show. That was like early 2000s. And so like, who cares about the politics? And also, fucking, don't kill whales. I don't think even if you're like, I don't agree with those radical people's method, I don't care. Don't kill a whale. I mean, orcas or whatever. Orcas are technically dolphins. Orcas or whatever. Fuck them. But, like, whales are typically pretty cool. Exactly. But this is where, but again, the theme song scared me when I was a kid because it was very like metal. It was like a metal theme song, and I was like, oh, screaming. But yeah, but the captain, they got everyone off, and the captain stayed on the sinking ship. Again, a sinking ship in the Antarctic Ocean, and then he was arrested by Japanese whalers, taken in a Japanese whaler brig to Japan to be tried for, you know, like harassing the ships and everything, because that's what they do. They harass the whaling ships to stop them out. And by the way, I'd have a bit more, I guess, humor for the whaling ships, except they never call. They make it very clear in the show those ships like to pretend they are not whaling, that they're doing research that requires them to kill whales, which is wild. in modern day, that you're lying. We everyone knows you're lying, regardless. But he was like, yeah. Then the organization that does this stuff, you know, they got a legal team. They got him out. He might have served time in like a Japanese prison or whatever. I don't think he served much. The much more like hardcore or whatever part of it was the fact he had to, like, he was not going home you know, you set out on a voyage like this, you are not going home for a while. He wasn't going home for an even longer time because he was in a Japanese cell for quite a bit. He went the opera. They might have been like New Zealand or Australia or America. Always tries a day in a comfy futon. Yeah, okay, but yeah, Juice. But fucking. You can love their prisons all you want, but I know you and if like our plane went down and people from any nation were like, you are a prisoner now, we're taking you back to not your home to be tried in a court of law, that wouldn't be a nice experience. They could make the accommodations as nice as possible. I'd be like, well, this sucks. It sucks I don't know when we'll get there, and it sucks that I'm technically a prisoner. And again, they did an interview with that guy during a special of Whale Wars, and I remember him saying, they were like, yeah, they were perfectly chill. They were very cool about it. They're like, hey, we don't like you harassing our boats, but, you know, sorry about that whole mess back there. And he was like, yeah, they were very polite to me. And then he got out. So it was not this bitter rivalry or whatever. It's just he was in fact a prisoner for a hot moment. And and he was a prisoner because he wanted to make sure his crew got off the ship as he stayed on as it sank. Real wild stuff. I'd have 15 panic attacks, but Rice. Yeah. And that's probably why I like Whale Wars. Because, like, that's kind of what it has, at least the way the show presented. Because obviously I don't know all the real facts. And, like, different eco organizations called them extremist or whatever. But at the same time, are you doing anything to stop this? Clearly not. You're not really. They're still killing whales. But like, it's kind of what I like about like pirate stories and everything. You're not going out there as like a pleasure cruise to just see a destination and come back home. No, you are on a voyage. You're on a voyage and you're tracking stuff down, other ships, as you fly your black flag above the hull. It's real cool. Spending time with your crew, etc., etc. Again, show might not have been that good. You can disagree with them, whatever. But like, that's an adventure. Plus, you get to see whales and the Arctic. You know, like they were in the Arctic. And I remember another cool thing they did was that one specific eco-activist died while the show was on. Not from anything, I don't think from something specifically tragic, like not related to that. You know, they just passed away. And they were like, I want my ashes to be laid to rest in the Arctic. So the Whale Wars people got their like mini helicopter that they had on one of their boats, flew to an iceberg and landed on it, and then laid the ashes there. And that was pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna ask for that because I have no particular tie to the Arctic yet in my life. And also, I don't think I want to be cremated. I don't know, that whole idea is a bit weird to me, honestly. I don't know, we'll see how life turns out. But just the whole, yep, gonna bury them on this floating mass of ice, adrift in an open sea. Pretty neato. But yeah, I mean, again, that's kind of why I want my own vessel. I want to go on adventures. I mean, assumingly I'd be leaving from like Jersey because given the opportunity, I'll move back to Jersey whenever. But you know, stock up on my local store with with a month or two of food and water as supplies. And then make my way out to whatever island I see fit, having adventures along the way. Let me look up this. It's not Guatemala. That's a country. What's the island I always think of? Yeah, no, Guatemala is oh no, Guatemala is a country, and there's Guatemala City. What's the island though? Island of giant sharks. Nope, not that one. Is it Guadalupe? I think it's Guadalupe. I know it's not Guatemala. Guadalupe. Yeah, I want to sail to Guadalupe. Oh, that's a saint. Okay, I want to sail to the island. It's off the coast of Mexico. It has 600 feet deep water with the biggest great white sharks in the entire world. There might be towns and stuff on it because I just saw pictures of it, but at least the parts I've seen where the sharks are, it is a cliff face and rocks jutting 600 feet down into the ocean with legitimate sea beast in there. And I don't know if there's a plane that can take me there. I don't know if there's a cruise boat that'll take me there, but I don't want any of that. My dream is to get my own seaworthy vessel, my pride and joy, and as a captain of my own fate, sail out there to see some of the mightiest predators the ocean has to offer. The mightiest predators that fail literally half the time. If you don't know that, great white sharks, while hunting seals and, well, mostly seals. I don't know about other random prey they look after, but while going after seals, great whites miss legitimately 1/2 of the time. Many tests have been done. Scientists believe it is a small amount of water pressure that tips the seal off while the shark is rushing towards it. That allows it to not just get obliterated every time. But it's real interesting. But orcas are pricks. I don't like orcas, and I'll say that publicly. I don't want them to go extinct. I don't want any animal to go extinct. Some animals are invasive and shouldn't be where they are. Like, you know, fucking... I'm trying to think of an invasive a typical invasive species. Red lanternflies. Oh, lanternflies. Fuck lanternflies. Y'all know I hate those. I was like, there's one I have experience with, isn't there? But no, orcas are just pricks. And granted, I believe a lot of dolphins are too, but orcas in particular. Of all the mean dolphins, they seem particularly nasty. Like so many other animals, they're more intelligent than we give them credit for. But they seem just to use it to be an asshole to things they then kill. Like great white sharks. And seals. Those panda-looking pricks have had it for too good for too long. With their creepy, like, you know, white spots that I always swear are their eyes, which is literally the purpose of them having them. But I just legitimately just believe it's their actual eyes, unironically. And their sharp teeth. And they're killing things to survive and for amusement. Both of that. Also, that being said, I know I already gave the, like, disclaimer of I do not wish harm upon, well, I don't wish extinction upon orcas, and I don't wish harm upon them either. Because they're just doing whatever orcas do. But also, but if I need to say this too, they don't deserve SeaWorld either. Fuck SeaWorld for that. Maybe orcas became meaner to everything else as retribution. I'm trying to think, what other wild locations would I like to visit if I have my own seaworthy sailing vessel? I don't know. I would be like Point Nemo, but A, there's nothing at Point Nemo. That's literally the point of Point Nemo, is that there's nothing there. It's just the deepest in the ocean you can be. On the, like, you know, horizontal axis. But and that would probably be a dangerous trip considering how long it would take me to get there from any island. So probably not that as like a must go there. Maybe Hawaii or Jamaica. I don't want to just go tropical places though. Alaska would be cool. Because I always hear how beautiful Alaska is. So granted that I'm not going through particularly bad seawater, being able to sail out there. Oh, and Greenland. Because I don't think Greenland... Because I love nature. And I hear great things about how Greenland looks just all around. And with that in mind, like, maybe I wouldn't want to, like, book a flight there, because I don't know what, like... Because I don't know if there'd be, like, touristy things to do. But, like, almost mount an expedition to it. Get in my boat. See what I can see as I sail to a point on the map labeled Greenland. That'd be cool. I love seeing interesting nature. I don't know if I said this, but I said I'd only ever go back to Bermuda if I had my own ship. Specifically because normal driving makes me nauseous. Jamaica driving, Jamaican me crazy. It makes me want to die. And granted, I think that's how a lot of places drive. Just absolutely unhinged. That's how New Jersey drives. But that doesn't mean I want to drive there more. Guess what? If there's another sea-accessible place that drives like this, I'll say the same thing. It's just the only one I have first-hand experience with is Jamaica. So, but yeah, I would love to see that again. What other kind of destination? I mean, because I talked about going to Guadalupe for the sharks, and there is Seal Island in South Africa. I wouldn't mind going to see South Africa. Probably like the Mediterranean and everything. That wouldn't be bad. Can most sailboats get in the Nile River? Okay, let's say Cahill here wants to go become the Pirate King. So he plots a course from Jersey to, like, Spain into the Mediterranean. I guess Greece, because I'd love to see Greece. And then down towards Africa. Could a sailboat that could make that trip also get down the Nile? Or is the delta, and if you don't know your environmental terms, I'll explain that in a minute, is the delta too, like, you know, too thick for big old sea ships to pass through? I mean, cruise ships definitely, but cruise ships can cause havoc wherever they sail. Some cruise ships are massive. But, like, you know, because, like, I've researched how much it costs to have a sailing boat that can, I looked at my viewer numbers. That's not good. That's not a good idea. I looked how much it would cost to... I'm just ranting about sailing, so I have no problem. To buy a you know, a ship or boat, whatever kind of terminology you do. I'm only avoiding saying boat because I feel like boat inherently makes it seem small, whereas ship is kind of what you use whenever you're referring something that goes out to sea. But you know, a sailboat, something that can be manned by 1 or 2 people, with a sail that can cross the ocean. And like, they're decent size because you have to live in it for a while. And I'm wondering if that kind of vessel can get down the Nile, because because the pyramids aren't, they're a decent ways down, but they're not like, let me look it up. How far is that down the Nile? No one's here, so like, let me just, how far are the pyramids? The first thing is from Cairo, and I know the pyramids are like next to Cairo. Down the Nile. You're in denial. That didn't come up with anything. No river map and pyramids. Where's Cairo on this? That's Luxor. Okay, Egypt is here. Yeah, Cairo is up there. So the pyramids are in Cairo, right? Are the pyramids in Cairo? On the outskirts of Cairo. So yeah. Because obviously with any river, no matter how big it is, the further away from the ocean you get, the like more narrow and kind of harder it becomes to get an ocean-worthy vessel down it. So with that in mind, as long as I can get the ship into Egypt, it's like we good. I mean, not Egypt, in the Nile. So yeah. So then you can't sail out of the Nile. So then I guess if I'm plotting this voyage, you turn back from the pyramids. And I guess go back out the Mediterranean. I don't want to go through the Red Sea, because that wasn't always accessible via sea. The northernmost part of the Red Sea only became accessible with the digging of the Suez Canal. And I don't want to go through the Suez. I don't feel like it. I'll just go around Africa. The thing they built the canal to avoid doing. But I'll do it. And I don't want to circumnavigate the globe on that kind of a trip. Like, I want the pyramid. I'm going on a bizarre adventure to Egypt, okay? I think this is a good... there's no one here to stop me from saying this. I think this is a good plan. I think the idea of crossing the Atlantic, and I guess Mediterranean technically, in order to reach the pyramids, I feel like this is a good plan of mine. That'll get me killed if I'm not smart. But you want to know something? If I die on my first real voyage on my own boat, I wasn't ready for that boat. The ocean, cruel mistress that she is, caught me slacking, as they used to say in the golden age of piracy. The ocean caught me slacking. For real, for real. So... oh my goodness. Also, I love that. If y'all did, there was a Nintendo Direct yesterday. No one, I just want to reiterate, and this is not pressure on anyone who might be lurking. People aren't here. I'm just rambling to myself. Just to be clear, I know that, and now I will stop harping on it. I'm now done with that. But they announced a lot of things people wanted. Like, I mean, I guess a lot of it was updates because it was to Tears of the Kingdom, which is the sequel to Breath of the Wild. And Pikmin 4, which they announced, I think, last Direct, if memory serves. Either last Direct or the Direct before. And, like, Pikmin is a big Nintendo... I mean, it's one of the last original, or at least most recent, I should say. He's alive. It's one of the most recent creation of Shigeru Miyamoto, which is saying something considering how much he gave to Nintendo. So, knowing that this is a lot, knowing Pikmin stands with Zelda and Mario kind of raised its pedigree. And also there are people who adore it, so I should try it at some point. But regardless, they gave updates on that. Then they announced that the original Prime game is coming to Switch, and it's getting like traditional shooter controls, which I didn't realize it never really had, which is really cool. Updates to Tears of the Kingdom, a whole bunch of oh, and the thing I wanted to say was Game Boy games coming to Switch Online, which is good. It's kind of less good that Advanced is locked behind the expansion, but at the very least, they're giving people more reason to buy the expansion pack than before. So props to them, because there wasn't a reason. It was not a good expansion pack for quite a bit. It's getting better now. Just by better online servers would be great, but at least now it's like, okay, do you want all the classic games we typically resell on top of N64 and Game Boy Advance games? No, you're fine, Shadow Mage. Play is better than ever. I just got done talking about how I want to cross the Atlantic Ocean when I finally get my own vessel. I don't know what the process is for, I guess, either commissioning a ship or naming, or officially naming one is, but I'll have to do that because I am going to give it a name. It's not going to be like Oceaneer 6 or whatever. But regardless, because like that's the thing, right? They resell their NES and SNES catalogs all the time because they are smaller game files that are easily ported to most of their systems. So having that come with your online stuff, pretty good, not bad. You finally put Earthbound on there, so a lot of people aren't complaining as much anymore. But then putting N64 and Game Boy Advance on the expansion pass, now we're getting somewhere. It's still pricey. It's still a lot of money. But it's not as bad as it was. Just the slightest bit, you know, more valuable. So, props where props is due. It seems to be peaking a lot. Ah, oh. Ah. Ah. I mean, I can... Oh, oh wait. Is that right? Oh. Let me just carry a note. There we go. You seem pretty loud. No one... Wait a minute. Let me... That seems better. Let me listen to my own stream, because that'll be pleasant. That'll be pleasant for a hot sec. You can't stop me. For a hot sec. No. Why didn't I mute my mic? What kind of idiot am I? I'll just make a clip. I mean, honestly, Smage, if you're asking me, I prefer you didn't. Like, I believe you, my audio's bad. I don't need... I don't need archived evidence of that. There will be archives. You seem to be wondering. I am, but I don't need a clip of it. The VOD will be up. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to just keep pointing at it. Anyway. Smage, I have a real genuine question. I'll be real. No, please keep... Smage, I wish anyone had told me. I genuinely appreciate it. No bit. I appreciate you helping me trying to improve stream quality. Thank you. When everyone else was too cowardly. They might not have noticed. I don't believe that. I think they're just cowards. I believe they're cowards. I'm calling my chat cowards, and they can't stop me. Also, no one was here. Juice, Pig, and... Stitch and Riku dropped by, but I think they might have headed out. I don't know. I looked at my numbers once, and it was like 1. Yeah. So I'll be real, Smage. You're not necessarily first in line, but let me ask you. Oh. If I have a sailing vessel that I want to explore the world in and have adventures and maybe make a bit of treasure on, legitimately, this is not a bit. I'm not being like, haha, I'm going to be a pirate. I intend to explore the world and make money as I go. Would you join my crew? Yes or no? Would you serve legitimately under Captain Cahill, knowing I actually expect you to, like, we're still friends, but I am your captain? I'd be land-based support. Then that's no. That's no. I don't know how to tell you this, Smage. Like, we can't, like, again. Stay on the boat, dummy. Don't get in the water. Yeah, that's bad. Smage, the whole point, the whole point of boats is not to get in the water. Duh. Anyway, this is one of the reasons I need a one-manable vessel, a one-person manable vessel. Is the boat? Is it on the ground? No. But like, isn't thalassophobia largely referential to like underwater? And boats are above water. You know? If you want to know where I'm getting this from, it's from me when I found out how bad Pig's thalassophobia is, and then realizing he's played Sea of Thieves with me, so when I asked him about it, he was like, I just stay on the ship. I just never fall off. That's fair. That's fair, Schmage. Damn. I'm gonna need a crew. I need a crew of people I can trust, and also won't spill the beans. If like, I maybe break international law. Okay? Just don't tell anyone particular. It'll be fine. You know something I've always been curious about? Speaking of just like, because that's the thing, I'm not talking about murder, but there's stuff where they're like, hey, don't do this in the ocean, blah blah blah. The big one I can think of is in Bermuda, where there's a lot of shipwrecks. You're not supposed to take anything from the shipwrecks, which the tour guide broke after he told us that, because they're allowed to take stuff. I call it Chuck E. Cheese. Yes, you can. My cosmic horror. I'm not with you there. I love the ocean. But anyway, that's the main one I think of, is finding a shipwreck and wanting to take stuff from it. I'm not saying I'm gonna do that for legal reasons, and I wouldn't do it now for sure. But the other one I was thinking about is like docking places, you know? Because largely, if you want to use a dock, you pay for it. You roll up, you go to the dock office, and you say, "Hey, I got a boat right here. Can I tie it up?" And they're like, "Give us money," and I'm like, "Okay." But let's say, so I have my decently sized, not too small, not too big, sailing vessel, right? But on top of that, I get like a kayak. A much smaller paddle boat of some kind. And I roll up to, let's say, I don't know, France. I roll up to a sea accessible location, a sea accessible country of some sort. And instead of docking, I just drop anchor just a ways off the coast. And I kayak. And I break out the kayak after locking everything down and head ashore. Anyone gonna stop me? Like, if it's not a private beach and they're like, "Hey, we own this bit. We own this bit of ocean here." Is anyone in particular gonna be like, "Hey, you have to pay for that"? And I'll be like, "Pay for what? The ocean?" I don't think so. That's the ocean. Of all things on Earth, the one thing humanity agrees on that no one owns is the ocean. Even the regulations and such. But I'm in the ocean, Shadow Maze. I'm not pulling up to a fancy beach or any kind of beach where there are like people and lifeguards. I'm finding like a good spot where I think my boat will be safe, and I'm not docking it, and I drop anchor. Radioactive. Well, yes, obviously, but I'm not polluting. What's the difference of if I drop anchor and leave my boat for a couple hours to restock and see what's up in town, versus if I just drop anchor anywhere in the ocean? You may be polluting, but I'm not, though, because I take good care of my ship. Like, Shadow Mage, I don't know much about international law, but I'm convinced that if I dock my ship somewhere and someone's like, "You're polluting," that would be like a cop coming up to me and being like, "You were speeding." And it was like, I guess, a mile over. Like, they don't actually care about what I'm doing. They just want to give the ticket. And like, if I'm gonna be a pirate, I don't want to be a pirate with fucking for wanted tickets. I want them to catch me and be like, "Okay, your punishment is you have to actually pay the fines we gave you." And I'm like, "I really rather not." Like, "You really have to." Be like, "Fine." And they're like, "Exactly." Overregulation. You're right, but still, fuck that. They can find my ship when it's good. Shadow Mage, you haven't convinced me not to do this. You've just convinced me I have to pick real good spots to leave my ship. And also definitely actually have one crew member, because they'll need to watch it. One of us will need to watch the ship. How hard is it to paddle 12 kilometers? How much is that in miles? 12 kilometers, 2 miles. That's 7.5 miles. Could I, after sailing a ship across an ocean, paddle roughly 8 miles? I want to go with yes. I am doubtful. No, because I've done kayaking before. And if you're like, well, Cahill, that doesn't fucking mean anything. It was like in... Me and my mom signed up for like this kayaking. Well, okay, let me let me clear my name. My mom signed up for this on a vacation, because you know how families do on vacation. They're like, we're doing this today. And you're like, I guess so. And it was kayaking, right? And neither of us had ever been kayaking before, okay? This instructor, I think it's an instructor. I don't think this is supposed to be experienced. No. Shadow Mage, you need to let me finish. Shadow Mage, just shut your entire cute face. Let me finish once. Let me complete once. Because what I'm saying is not that I am a professional kayaker. What I'm saying is this instructor took us out into international waters. And I'm not joking about that. We went from like a river to like a bay that fed out into the ocean. And then we went like a ways out. We were out there for a couple hours. And you could not... And there wasn't like, okay, if you get tired, here's the big boat you go on. No, you paddled the entire time. So what I am saying is not that I am a professional kayaker who can handle anything a kayak throws at me. What I am saying is I have tested my short form kayak endurance before and made do. So yes, I think I could paddle about 8 miles. No, because they... Oh, sorry. Because the instructor said that. I think it was a technical... It wasn't, like, actually out that far in the ocean. We were near land. But they were like, this is technically international waters. I shouldn't have said that part. Because I remember there was a thing about that, and now everyone's like, Cahill's bullshitting the entire thing. People just do that? Lie, taking your money? No! But at the same time, like, we were kayaking and going to what I was thinking of. It's to islands anyway. Like, I don't, like, that didn't add anything to the experience. They were like, this is international waters. I don't know. You think people would do that? Go on the internet and lie? But anyway. Yeah, I still want to boat and explore the world. I don't care if I seem like a naive dreamer to you now. I'm gonna get a boating license, and then I'm gonna get a boat. And I'm gonna sail that boat to places that people have probably been before, but I haven't been before. So it'll be cool and it'll be fun. It'll be sexy. It'll be real neat, and I'll look real cool, and I'll have my own pirate flag. And I don't know what happens if you're not flying a specific country's flag when you leave that country on a boat. But I'm gonna find out, because I only sail under my own flag. Sail to the bottom of the ocean. You do not know how sad I will be if I get a boat and I sink it. Especially if it's fast. Like, obviously the first trip isn't... I was thinking of... isn't crossing the ocean. It would be like... Just around... What's that? If you're about to say all ships sink, Shadow Mage, that is inherently wrong. I'm waiting to see if Shadow Mage says that. I'm waiting to see. I was not. Okay, go on. That's why I made sure to specify, and the article specified, that, like, the whale warship was recycled. Because, like, for example, the sister ship to the Titanic, the Olympia, she was recycled. So, like, entire suite rooms were taken out of that ship and placed in new locations. That gets you sunk. Well, no. Because I'm not like, this will all go swimmingly. I'm just saying, I feel like it's more exciting. I know nothing about, am I exuding confidence that I know, like, how to sail and that I'll be a good sailor? I don't. Kinda. Well, I apologize for that. I have a problem expressing my thoughts and emotions to people. I don't know. I barely know the first thing about sailing, period. I know that the horizontal part of a triangular sail is called a boom. The arm of a sail is called a boom, because when it hits you, it goes boom. No, before I cross any oceans or go to any locations, I need to take extensive classes, practice a lot, look into the right ship for me, then practice on that ship a lot. A process that could probably take like a decade. Starting when I'm 30, if I am in a well-paying job and invest correctly. I'll be cute like you. Well, you can't be Stitch because you're even cuter. So, then a decade. I did say if that goes well. Wi-Fi on the high seas. I have thought about that too, because that definitely exists. I'm just curious what, like, the payment and equipment would be. I don't even need, like, anything good. I just need something to talk to friends and family. I've seen KO. I've not seen Stitch. Stitch is a pretty good looking guy. If we're being real here, I would genuinely say Stitch looks better than me. That's not me that's not me putting myself down. Stitch is a high standard. And in part because Stitch really likes working out. So, Stitch really likes working out. I don't. In the slightest. I'm envious of him. But I'm not a workout enjoyer. So, unfortunately. Like, if I want to lose weight through physical activity, I'll either do a job that takes a lot of physical activity, or I'll fucking just, like, go walking. I'll diet a little and go walking. I do have a bit of a tummy on me right now. Not like a tummy, but it doesn't help that I'm bending over. I'm not shrimping per se, but, you know. You scrunch up and you get your tummy folds. Happens to more people rather than not. I'd argue it'd be incredibly concerning for most people if you don't have tummy folds. If you don't have tummy folds, you might be entitled to financial compensation. But yeah. Yeah, no, I need to... I think getting a sailing license wouldn't actually take that long. Like, I don't think... I guess, is it college? Is learning to sail like college? You're sweet, Shadow Mage. And that's not any guff. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. Regardless, though. Yeah. I mean, I have no concept on how long it takes to... I mean, let's Google it. You know what? Let me not have someone come in the stream and be like, actually... How long to get sailing license? The course is taken over anywhere from 2 to 3 days, with plenty of on-water instruction. Okay, so to get a sailing license is measured in days. I should still study up before that, and I genuinely have a passion about learning about the ocean and ships. So that's fine. No. Yeah, well, Shadow Mage, I'd be lying if I said I didn't expect you to be like, well, Cahill, if you must know. Table for Hamina. I'll seat you immediately. Wow, okay, I see how it is. You literally said you would do it. Shadow Mage, this would be like if I had a knife and I didn't give it to you because I was like, and I didn't let go of it because I was like, someone would stab me in the back. And you were like, yeah, I'd probably stab you in the back. And then I said, yeah, Shadow Mage, I thought you might stab me in the back. And you go, wow, Cahill. I can't believe you would say... Phantom Blood is the best part, Stitch. I can't believe you would say that. You can't believe you would say that I'd stab you in the back. I would never stab you in the back. Are you about to post menacing? Actually, you don't have it'd be a shotgun. That's overkill. I'm a boat nut more than I am a gun nut. By a long margin. But even I know a shotgun to a back isn't killing someone, it's atomically destroying them. Well, I'm thinking in the back. I'm thinking you are poking this into someone's back like you would a gun. Except it's, a knife. Except it's a shotgun. Shotgun's like, oh yeah, that would, you'd be, yeah, that would destroy a man. Exactly. Yeah, yes, precisely. I'm thinking you give the shotgun the same treatment you would a knife when using that to betray someone. At which point, there's very little chance for recovery. Almost guaranteed. Go through the person, but there'd be, yeah. Yeah, let's not talk about this more. Let's not talk about this specific kind of viscera anymore. I want to look at pictures of Yamato. Because I need to know what they look like. Because here's the thing. I've drawn kind of like their front. But they have like a whole thing behind them. Also, this is kind of dumb. Because there is legitimately trans characters in One Piece. And some of them are actually most of them are just fantastic. Full stop. Yamato's gender is weird. Just because they aren't like, I am a man, hear me roar. Yamato specifically desires to be a late One Piece character, who is like their hero. And because of that, they like to be referred to as that name and with that person who is a man's pronouns. But again, it's not really a gender thing as much as it is a whole identity thing of wanting to be a fully other person, because Yamato admires them. So I'm just like, they, them. And if you're like, well, if it's not a gender thing, then they're she, her, right? Here's the problem. And because I looked this up, I was doing research about this when I was thinking about it one day. There's a scene where not only does Yamato refer to themselves as their father's son, and as he, him, and as a man, and as that man's name, but also there is a scene where after a battle, the Straw Hats and their allies get into, you know, one of those saunas and stuff, and they are separated based on gender, as they typically are in the real world, and Yamato gets in the man's bath. And only like one person does the typical nosebleed anime trope, whatever. If you've seen One Piece, you know who it is. So clearly everyone else was cool with it. So that, among with what they say, ends up giving me more pause. Because of the specifics of, like, Sanji? It was Sanji. Yes, it was Sanji. That's the credit I'll always give a Whole Cake Island. Listen. I don't know who out here doesn't like the Whole Cake Island saga of One Piece, but it made me care about Sanji. And yeah, my glass wasn't correct. Sanji is horny, so. Also, if you're wondering why we're I was redrawing a frame I had originally, and then redrawing it a second time, because for the first time, I had sized it up, and upscaling an image is never good, so I just redrew it to make sure it looks better. And then the second time, because we're going to hold this position a bit, and redrawing stuff can give it a bit more life. But then also, this whole thing it's kind of like the camera's moving. Yeah. And then I have it black there. So this is Yamato. So I had resized it because of that. I was adjusting the very last frame's position. And was like, don't watch it. I will. Hey, let me say this. The Shonen Jump app on the App Store is $1. It's $1 a month. And like, I get it. Like, money's tight for lots of people. And it's okay if you don't want to get that and if you don't see value in it. Completely understandable. But watch and or read One Piece. Reading is a much better experience, IMO. Shadow Mage, you want to know something? I don't care if it's the longest anime ever. Stand the art style. I think minus the women. Minus most women Oda draws. Everything else is good. But I don't know. Honestly, it only ever gets egregious on occasions. The writing is honestly typically solid enough to be like, not that it's excusable at all. For one character like that in the cartoony art style is fine. The amount he has is insane, but so many of them are well written that it's like they end up being more fleshed out than more realistic drawn female characters. I know saying female makes it sound so bad, but you get what I mean. Would girl be better? I don't know. Who knows? But more realistically designed characters from other shows. And then after time skip. Honestly, I just like Robin. Robin's great. Even if she does have the same design trouble most of the women have. But yeah, I didn't draw her. Yamato's bow thing, which apparently they're wearing this, and the other character wore this because this was what samurai wore in Japanese theater. But yeah, no. But that's the problem, though. It's not just black and white. There's a lot of well-written girl characters in One Piece. So even though the art style can suck for that. Coming out of her. Yeah, it's great. No, Robin's powers are amazing. I love Robin's powers. She has an amazing devil fruit. So yeah. There are very... I mean, let me say this. One of my favorite villain designs, kind of period, is a lady from One Piece. I adore Big Mom. And I talked about this before. I forget if it was on stream or in Discord. But Oda did a cover spread on one issue of One Piece for like a fashion show or whatever that was happening. And it was like the girls of One Piece, right? And with the way it's drawn, you just expect him to do like, you know, the hot ones. Like the ones that are drawn as everyone imagines One Piece ladies are drawn. But he included Big Mom in that. Which is... Oh no. You just wouldn't expect that, I feel like, from lesser artists. So I love Big Mom. Love Robin. Yamato has a... Okay. Yamato, even though they still kind of fit the bill of the One Piece woman, please draw something else, Oda design. I don't know. Maybe it's because they have that bit of musculature, or it's just the cool outfits and the horns, but they stand out to me more. So with that in mind alone, it's like Yamato is like top tier design here. But that's just my humble opinion. So Big Mom, Nico Robin, Yamato. If I'm being honest, I wish Nami had stayed closer to a pre-time skip design. So I'm not including her on this. Is the problem. Is the issue. Which is unfortunate if we're being realistic here, since she's such a big character. And then I have to stop defending it, because I've named the women designs I think are good. Not good, well, not just blank good, but at the very least are like, here's some ones that work with the art style and aren't kind of like the egregious stuff you expect from, you know, from what you've seen. But those are not nearly all the well-written female characters I'm talking about in One Piece. But I'm already out of like the designs that are more subversive than compared to those other ones. I feel like Robin's the template, even though Nami's right there, but I feel like Robin is kind of like the base of what the rest of them end up being. I like Shantae. I don't know. Again, for me, it can be less of a design thing, because you can draw people as very attractive, or I don't even want to say sexualized, because I feel like there's too much of a negative connotation with that. Because it's not just like a sexual look. There's a larger problem. I should not be talking about stuff this serious, but you know, it's largely down to like objectification and writing and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. When the writing is good, then I can forgive it more. So that's me with One Piece. But it's still a problem. I would argue Bayonetta can be worse. Bayonetta is definitely worse than Shantae. It is not worse than One Piece. Because, like, obviously Bayonetta, it's a bit cheeky with everything. Like, it is intentionally so. And I think that's worse than One Piece. So it's different for me. I mean, Shantae makes jokes about her outfits in a couple games, I think. Shantae is fully aware, and also, you know, apparently Shantae, I don't know, because it's so weird. Because I want to be like, Shantae's day job is she's a belly dancer. So, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it's not, because she's like the local genie. Like, that's what everyone refers to her as, and she also gets fired from that role. So clearly her role isn't belly dancer, it's local genie. But if that's the case, why she's like, I'm a belly dancer. So wild. So yeah, I absolutely on that. I can go with you on that part, at least. But maybe that's what we're getting to. Because, like, and I don't want to necessarily make this comparison, because this can be used in a much worse way in, like, comics. In comics, this does not apply, because there's lots of comics where you could try and make this argument, but the writing does not support it. One Piece has a cartoony style, but that affects not all, but some of the guys. Actually, this argument immediately falls apart because I'm thinking of Frankie, who's like a Popeye character, but he's like the only one. No, he's not the only one, but he is largely the biggest example of that, whereas your typical guy is not nearly anything like that. I mean, I could go with Usopp. Usopp, his dad, Kaku, you know, just... they have unrealistically long noses. But yeah, I guess that's my point, though. It is a problem in a lot of things, and there is no shame in being like, I don't want to interact with that because of that, for the most part. But for me, it's more the writing than the art. The worse it's written, on top of having big boobed art, the more I'm like, ugh, this is gross. Alright, I apologize about everything. Well, that's what I mean, I'm not about to tell you to get over your art style, like, you know, hang-ups. That's completely valid. And if anything, you should, because, like, I gave it a chance because I kind of accept it. Not the female designs. Not the female designs by a long shot. Like, he still needs to fix that, no matter what. But, like, just that it had a more cartoony style, because that in general kind of turned me off for a while. But after I got over that, it was like, this is very well written, blah 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 blah. Oh shit, I just realized something. But no, absolutely. There's definitely cases where it can apply even more, but if you're like, man, the way you've designed this character makes me feel uncomfortable, I do not wish to support your goings-ons in this matter. Good day, sir. That's just how the world works. Ain't no shame in that. It will encourage a change in design, which hopefully after that everyone's happy with. No one's ever gonna there will never be a time everyone's happy, but you get what I mean. The most people, as much as we can. I just realized I have done the same thing I did before. Okay, I know I didn't get a lot done, but I'm glad I streamed and everything. It was a very small stream, but I'm okay with that. I saw my friends, I hung out a bit, so it's all good. I appreciate seeing y'all. How about we raid someone? Because like I said, I'm tired. I'm just gonna go home early after a long day. Maybe work on this more, maybe play games, who knows. World's my oyster. World's my One Piece. Listen, I typically want my streams to be closer to 3 hours. That's been my goal ever since I started streaming. I mean, yeah, we're gonna go back to Mario RPG on Sunday morning. I was right about that. I was wondering. I was like, Sunday morning? Sunday morning. Sunday. But listen, much like how Barry occasionally does a 4-hour stream instead of a 6-hour stream, sometimes I want to do like a 90-minute stream instead of a fucking 3-hour one. Hopefully we'll do 3 hours on Sunday just because, you know, it's a game. I can just sit back and enjoy the game more than worry about telling stories via art. What's up? What's going on? Let's raid Dollop Days. I promote myself in her Discord, and apparently she's doing Smash Brothers for charity. So we're raiding a charity stream, which is always nice. You love to see charity streams from nice people. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I'm glad for everyone who stopped by. Do not let my comments about viewers get you down. If anything, it's thank you, Shadow Mage. If anything, it is not me trying to be disparaging to people. You're good. Who are lurking or whatever, or just not coming. It's more of like me saying, if for whatever reason there's someone who's like, there's no one here, I'll just be like, yeah, I'm just talking anyway. That was a bit. You're good. Anyway. But yes, thank you for the 5 bits, Shadow Mage. I'll see everyone later. Bye.